Welcome, UPSC aspirants, to another deep dive. We're focusing today on April 27th, 2025, Part 1 of Key Current Affairs.
That's right. And as you know, some of these topics might be refreshers, maybe good revision, while others could be new ground.
Exactly. Essential stuff for your syllabus, current events of national and international importance. We've looked at news articles, summaries.
Yeah, the usual sources. Our mission, as always, is to pull out what's most relevant for your preparation, give you a clear understanding.
Okay, let's jump right in. First up, the Cabinet Committee on Security, the CCS. News is they've announced measures against Pakistan after that Pahalgam attack.
Citing cross-border links. And this really highlights the CCS's role, doesn't it? It's the apex body, the absolute top level for security discussions and, crucially, appointments, too.
It's not a new body, though, is it? It has roots going way back.
Well, yes and no. Something like it started under Nehru back in '47, dealing with immediate post-independence security issues. Think about the '47-'48 war. They had an emergency meeting then. But the formal CCS structure we see today, that really took shape. Became more established after the Cargill War in '99. It solidified its role then.
Got it. So who actually sits on this committee for our listeners tracking governance structures?
Right. Key details. The Prime Minister is the chairperson. Then you have the core ministers: Home, Defense, Finance, and External Affairs.
Okay.
The National Security Advisor, the NSA, acts as the secretary-level coordinator.
Yeah.
Very important role. And the Defense Minister is also a permanent invitee. The PM can bring others in, too.
And who keeps the records, the official minutes and all that?
That falls to the Cabinet Secretariat. They handle the formal record-keeping.
And the CCS's job description, basically, what areas does it cover?
It's the big stuff. Defense policy, foreign affairs with security angles, intelligence matters, anything nuclear, space policy, and those key national security appointments we mentioned.
Now, CCS is one of several cabinet committees, right? Why have these committees at all? From, an efficiency perspective for governance.
Good question for UPSC prep. They're extra-constitutional, not in the Constitution itself, but vital for smooth functioning. Think of them as specialized subgroups of the main cabinet.
To handle the workload.
Exactly. They let smaller groups focus on specific policy areas, make decisions faster. They get formed or reformed with new governments or reshuffles, and the PM decides how many and what they do.
And the number of members varies.
Yeah, usually 3 to 8 ministers, mostly cabinet rank.
Yeah.
Right now, there are 8 committees listed covering everything from economic affairs, political affairs, security, appointments.
So parliamentary affairs, investment, employment, accommodation.
Right, all those. And interestingly, the PM heads all of them, except accommodation and parliamentary affairs. Shows the PM's central role.
Okay, quick recap on CCS then. Headed by
The Prime Minister,
Secretary-level Coordinator.
the NSA,
Records maintained by
the Cabinet Secretary. Okay, let's switch gears now. How about TRAI, Telecom Regulatory Authority of India?
Yes, TRAI. There was a joint committee of regulators, JCOR, meeting recently at their HQ. Big focus on tackling spam and those fraudulent calls, especially targeting older people.
A very relevant issue. And understanding TRAI itself is key here. It was set up by the TRAI Act back in 1997. Parliament passed it.
Its main job.
Primarily regulating telecom services. That includes fixing or revising tariffs, something the central government used to do directly before TRAI came along.
So its reach covers quite a bit in the telecom sector.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Tariffs, yes, but also quality of service standards, interconnection between networks, spectrum management, and, importantly, consumer protection. It also makes recommendations, issues regulations, shapes policy.
And who makes up TRAI? The board or committee?
It has a chairperson, then up to 2 full-time members and 2 part-time members, all appointed by the central government.
How long do they serve?
Term is 3 years or until they turn 65, whichever happens first.
Now, about its independence, given the government appoints them and funds them, how autonomous is TRAI really? That's always a question with regulators.
It's a fair point. It's designed to be independent, but, well, the government does have levers. Section 25 of the Act allows the center to issue binding directions on policy.
Ah, okay.
Plus, funding comes from the government. And while its recommendations are usually advisory, not strictly binding, the government must consult TRAI before issuing licenses. TRAI also notifies the service rates.
Okay.
So it's a balance.
And this joint committee, the JCOR, what's the goal there?
It's a TRI initiative, basically bringing different regulators together. Think telecom, IT, consumer affairs, banking, insurance, financial markets.
Cross-sectoral collaboration?
Precisely. To tackle complex digital issues like fraud, spam, consumer protection more effectively, you've got RBI, SEBI, IRDI, PFRDA, ministries like MOCA, MADI involved, even DOT and Home Affairs as special invitees.
So a coordinated effort. Got it. Quick facts on TRII. Established when?
February 20th, 1997.
And it's a statutory body.
Yes, under the TRII Act 1997. Definitely statutory. Now let's move to something quite different and rather concerning Mycetoma.
Yes. That news from Sudan was terrible. The world's only dedicated research center for it destroyed in the war. It really highlights how neglected these tropical diseases can be.
It really does. And Mycetoma primarily affects farmers, vulnerable groups. It's a chronic, nasty infection. Starts under the skin, but it can spread deep, even to the bone.
Is it caused by one specific thing?
No, it's caused by various fungi or bacteria. Interestingly, it was first reported in Madurai, India, way back in the mid-19th century. They called it Madura foot initially.
Madura foot, right. Who does it usually affect?
Mostly young adults, say 15 to 30 years old, and predominantly males in developing countries.
Is there a specific climate or region where it's more common?
Yes, it's found in tropical and subtropical areas, often places with short rainy seasons and long dry spells, conditions that favor thorny bushes. There's a known Mycetoma belt.
Which includes?
Countries like Sudan, Senegal, India, Mexico, Venezuela, Ethiopia, Yemen, quite a few across Africa, Asia, and Latin America.
How does someone actually get infected?
Typically through minor injuries, like a prick from a thorn. The bacteria or fungi are in the soil or on plants, and they get in through that break in the skin. Walking barefoot, manual labor, those are big risk factors.
What are the signs? How would someone know they have it?
It usually starts as a firm, painless lump under the skin, often on the foot, but it can be anywhere. It grows slowly, then develops sores that ooze.
Ooze what?
Fluid containing these tiny grains. They can be different colors, white, yellow, black, red, depending on the cause. It's a key sign.
And if it's not treated?
It keeps spreading. Can cause deformities, make the limb unusable, risks of secondary infections, even spreading into the bloodstream. Eventually, it destroys muscle and bone. Really serious.
How is it treated then?
Depends if it's bacterial or fungal. Bacterial mycetoma needs long courses of antibiotics. Fungal is trickier antifungal drugs, often for a very long time, plus surgery might be needed to remove the affected tissue.
Okay, quick review. Caused by?
Bacteria and fungi found in soil, plants, water.
Enters the body how?
Penetrating injuries, like thorn pricks usually.
Most common starting point.
The foot. Definitely the foot. Okay, changing track again, let's talk infrastructure. The Dhubri-Phulbari Bridge.
Ah, yes, the big one over the Brahmaputra. There's a progress update, right?
That's right. Reportedly, 59% of the work is now complete on this 19.28-kilometer bridge.
Remind us, this connects Assam and Meghalaya.
Correct. Dhubri in Assam to Phulbari in Meghalaya on National Highway 127B. It's a 4-lane bridge.
And the big deal is its length.
Absolutely. At 19.3 kilometers, it's set to be India's longest river bridge once it's finished. Massive undertaking.
Can you describe the structure a bit?
Well, there's the main navigation bridge part, which is over 12.6 kilometers long. Then approach sections about 3.5 kilometers on the Assam side, 2.2 kilometers on the Meghalaya side, all held up by 199 pillars.
Who's building it?
Larsen and Toubro, L&T, won the contract.
And the cost must be significant.
Estimated at around Rs 366 crore. So yes, a major investment.
What are the main benefits expected once it's open?
The biggest is cutting down travel distance dramatically. Over 200 kilometers shorter between Phulbari and Dhubri. That means much better connectivity for Assam, Meghalaya, and really the whole Northeast region. Big boost for trade, travel, everything.
Okay, key facts again. Connecting which states?
Assam and Meghalaya.
Over which river?
The Brahmaputra.
Total length?
19.3 kilometers. Longest in India. Now let's move to some high-tech stuff. Scramjet engines.
Right. DRDO had a successful test, didn't they? DRDL in Hyderabad.
Yes, a ground test of a scramjet engine. Reportedly ran for over 1,000 seconds, which is quite impressive for this technology.
Okay, so what exactly is a scramjet engine? Break it down for us.
Right. Scramjet stands for supersonic combustion ramjet. It's an air-breathing engine, meaning it uses oxygen from the atmosphere, designed for hypersonic speeds, think Mach 5 or faster.
Faster than Mach 5, wow. How does it differ from, say, a normal jet engine?
Big difference is no rotating compressors. A normal jet slows incoming air down to subsonic speeds for burning fuel. A scramjet relies on the vehicle's incredibly high speed to compress the air. And crucially, the combustion itself happens while the air is still moving at supersonic speeds.
Supersonic combustion. Okay. And this is good for...
Primarily for hypersonic cruise missiles, HCMs. Enables sustained flight at those extreme speeds.
How does it actually work? The process?
Okay, simplified. Air comes in the intake, but the vehicle already needs to be going fast, like Mach 3+. The engine shape compresses this fast-moving air. Fuel, usually hydrogen, is injected and burns in that supersonic airflow. Then the expanding hot gas shoots out the back, creating thrust.
But it can't start from 0 speed.
Correct.
Yeah.
Needs a boost, usually from a rocket, to get up to the speed where the scramjet can take over.
How does it fit in with other engine types, like ramjets?
Good comparison. Jet engines. Subsonic, transonic. Ramjets. Supersonic, maybe Mach 3 to 6. Use forward speed for compression, but slow air down for combustion. Scramjets, hypersonic, Mach 5 plus supersonic combustion. There's also a dual-mode ramjet that can switch between ramjet and scramjet modes, useful for Mach 4 to 8 range.
And the link to hypersonic missiles seems pretty direct then.
Absolutely. Hypersonic missiles are all about speed over Mach 5 and maneuverability. You've got two main types: glide vehicles, HGVs, launched by rockets, then glide, and cruise missiles, HCMs, powered by engines like scramjets for sustained hypersonic flight, often at lower altitudes.
Which makes them harder to detect.
Exactly. Lower altitude, high speed, maneuverability, a tough combination to defend against. This scramjet test is a big step for India's capability in that area.
Okay, so a scramjet is, define it simply,
an air-breathing engine for hypersonic flight using atmospheric oxygen with supersonic combustion.
And semi-difference from a ramjet.
Supersonic airflow throughout the scramjet, including combustion. Ramjets slow the air down before burning fuel. Okay, let's shift to tax and trade. CBIC.
Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs, they've introduced some new measures.
Yes, for air cargo and transshipment. Focused on facilitating trade, apparently in line with the union budget for 2025-26 goals.
Remind us what CBIC does. It's part of the Finance Ministry.
Correct. Department of Revenue, Ministry of Finance. Its job is administering customs, central excise, CGST, IGST, and also narcotics control were relevant.
So its main functions involve
policy formulation for these indirect taxes, how they're levied, collected, managing the actual custom houses, the GST and excise commissionerates, the revenue labs, basically the whole operational side of indirect taxes and customs.
And its operational reach is pretty wide.
Oh, yes. They manage customs operations at all entry-exit points: airports, seaports, air cargo stations, land customs stations, inland depots, special economic zones, everywhere goods cross borders.
And the structure, who's in charge?
It's headed by a chairman. Then there are chief commissioners, director generals below that, and they have a dedicated GST intelligence wing, too, to tackle evasion.
So summing up CBIC.
It's the apex body under the Finance Ministry handling GST, customs, and central excise administration in India. Key for revenue and trade flow.
Is it a statutory body created by law?
Yes, it gets its power from the Central Boards of Revenue Act, 1963. So, statutory. Now let's look at geopolitics Crimea.
Right. Always a complex issue. The recent news involves former President Trump suggesting the U.S. might formally recognize it as Russian.
That's the report. A potential major shift from long-standing U.S. policy if it were to happen. It brings Crimea back into focus.
Geographically, where is it exactly?
It's that peninsula in southern Ukraine, jutting out into the Black Sea with the Sea of Azov to its east, connected to mainland Ukraine by the narrow Perekop Isthmus. Historically, it was called the Tauric Peninsula.
It's changed hands a lot over history, hasn't it?
Many times. Ottomans, Russians. It's been strategically vital for centuries.
What about its geography? Any key features?
The Crimean Mountains run along the south coast. Mount Petri is famous. Rivers are small, like the Salhir Alma. The Kerch Peninsula in the east has iron ore, mud volcanoes, mineral springs. And, of course, the Kerch Bridge now connects it to Russia.
Any important cities we should know?
Simferopol is the administrative capital, but Sevastopol is probably more significant geopolitically.
Because of the naval base?
Exactly. It's a major deepwater port, home to Russia's Black Sea Fleet. That base is a huge part of why Crimea is so strategically important.
Okay, quick check. Location of Crimea.
Peninsula in the Black Sea. Formerly part of Ukraine, now controlled by Russia.
Geopolitical importance stems from?
Primarily the naval base at Sevastopol, giving Russia key access to the Black Sea and Mediterranean. Huge strategic value.
Okay, let's shift to something completely different. Zero Shadow Day.
Ah, the cool astronomical thing. Cosmos in Mysuru observed it recently. Can you explain what that actually is? Sure. It's a phenomenon that happens twice a year for places located between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. For a brief moment, the sun is directly overhead, exactly 90 degrees up.
And that means?
No shadow. Vertical objects, like a pole stuck straight in the ground, won't cast any shadow at that precise moment.
What causes this perfect alignment?
It happens when the sun's declination, its angle north or south of the equator, exactly matches the latitude of your location. As the sun crosses your local meridian, its rays hit vertically.
And this happens because the Earth is tilted.
Precisely. The Earth's 23.5-degree tilt, combined with its orbit around the sun, means the sun's direct rays hit different latitudes at different times of the year. Zero shadow days when they hit your latitude perfectly overhead.
When does it occur? Same day everywhere?
No, it varies by latitude. Each place between the tropics gets it twice a year. Once as the sun appears to move north, Uttarayan, and once as it moves south, Dakshinayan. The actual moment of zero shadow is very short, maybe just seconds, but you can notice very short shadows for a minute or so around local noon.
Which parts of India experience this?
Generally, places south of about Bhopal. So Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Andhra, Telangana, parts of Maharashtra, Odisha, Gujarat, MP, Chhattisgarh, West Bengal, the Northeast states, Andaman and Nicobar, basically southern and central India.
Okay, key points. Zero shadow day is when?
The sun is directly overhead, causing no shadow for vertical objects.
Occurs between which latitudes?
Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn.
How many times a year for one location?
Twice. Okay, let's move to public health, malaria.
Right. World Malaria Day was observed recently, April 25th, an important day recognized by the WHO since 2007.
Yes, and the theme this year, 2025, is Malaria Ends With Us. Reinvest, reimagine, reignite. A strong call for renewed global action.
Remind us, what is malaria fundamentally?
It's a life-threatening disease caused by Plasmodium parasites. These are spread to people through the bites of infected female Anopheles mosquitoes. It's important to note it's not contagious person to person like the flu, but can spread via infected blood.
Are some types worse than others?
Yes. Plasmodium falciparum is the most deadly. Plasmodium vivax is also very common and dangerous.
What are the symptoms if someone gets it?
They usually show up 10-15 days after the mosquito bite. Fever, chills, headache are typical first signs. But severe malaria, especially from falciparum, can cause seizures, breathing problems, jaundice, dark urine. It can be fatal without treatment.
Does immunity play a role?
In places where it's common, people can develop partial immunity, which might mean milder symptoms, sometimes making diagnosis harder.
How can people prevent getting malaria?
Prevention is key. Using insecticide-treated mosquito nets, indoor spraying, wearing repellents like DT, wearing long clothing, especially at dusk and dawn when these mosquitoes bite. For travelers, taking anti-malarial pills, chemoprophylaxis is often recommended.
And if someone does get infected, how is it treated?
Early diagnosis, using blood tests or rapid tests, is crucial. The main treatment for falciparum malaria is artemisinin and base combination therapy, ACTs. For Vivax, chloroquine might work, or other drugs if there's resistance. Primaquine is used to prevent relapses from Vivax and oval types. Severe cases need hospitalization and IV drugs.
Quick recap. Cause of malaria.
Plasmodium parasites, spread by Anopheles mosquitoes.
Deadliest species.
Plasmodium falciparum. All right, final topic for today. Geology, specifically the Yellowstone supervolcano.
Yes, interesting news about scientists finding a sort of breathing magma cap there, potentially helping predict eruptions.
That's the finding, yes. Yellowstone, under the national park in the U.S., is one of the world's largest active volcanic systems. It's a caldera, a huge crater.
How did that caldera form? It's massive, isn't it?
Huge, about 55 by 72 kilometers. It formed after colossal eruptions blasted out enormous amounts of ash and rock, emptying part of the magma chamber below. The ground then collapsed inwards, creating the caldera.
Has it erupted like that before?
Oh, yes. 3 massive eruptions in the last 2.1 million years. About 2.1 million, 1.3 million, and 640,000 years ago. 2 of those were officially super eruptions.
What makes it a super eruption?
The volume of material ejected.
Right.
The definition is an eruption that throws out more than 1,000 cubic kilometers of deposits. Yellowstone has done that twice.
If it happened again, what would the impact be? Sounds terrifying.
It would be devastating, certainly regionally, potentially globally. Huge parts of North America could be covered in ash, maybe over a meter deep near the volcano. That would cripple infrastructure, agriculture.
And globally.
The massive amount of sulfur dioxide released into the stratosphere could cause significant global cooling for several years, blocking sunlight. It would eventually wash out, but the climate disruption could be immense.
Okay, so Yellowstone has erupted before.
Yes, 3 very large eruptions in the past 2.1 million years.
Caldera formed how?
Ground collapsing after a massive eruption emptied the magma chamber.
And a supervolcano is defined by...
Erupting more than 1,000 cubic kilometers of material.
Right, so that covers a lot of ground for today's deep dive, relevant for all you UPSC aspirants. We've touched on the CCS, TRAI, Mycetoma, the Dhubri-Phulbari Bridge.
The Scramjet test, CBIC updates, the situation in Crimea, Zero Shadow Day, malaria awareness, and Yellowstone. A real mix, but all significant current events.
Absolutely. And it's crucial to see the connections, isn't it? How these different areas, security, tech, health, geopolitics, environment, they don't exist in isolation.
Definitely not. Thinking about those links, the knock-on effects, that's vital analytical skill for the exam. How tech advancements might affect security, or how environmental factors influence health.
Exactly. So here's something to think about further. Considering the interconnectedness, how might breakthroughs in, say, hypersonic tech, like the Scramjet, force changes in completely different arenas, like international arms control treaties or global security doctrines? What are the ripple effects?
That's a great question for further reflection. It pushes beyond just the headlines.
Indeed. We hope you found this deep dive useful for your UPSC preparation. If you did, please do give us a like and subscribe to the deep dive for more analysis of current affairs that matter for your exam.